Hey everybody, welcome back to The Boring Show. I'm Andrew Brogdon from the Flutter team, and with me is...
I'm Matt Sullivan, also from the Flutter team.
Yeah. And so today we're going to pick up right where Philip and Will left off. We're going to build on what they had done, and we're going to talk about adding searching to the app.
Oh, cool. So this is the Hacker News app that they built.
Yes. So we're going to be working on the Hacker News app, and right now it pulls down articles and puts them in a list view, and you can expand them and use URL Launcher to get out to the actual article. We're going to use some stuff out of the material package to add some easy searching functionality to the existing app.
Searching is never easy.
Well, no.
You were going to prove me wrong.
Let's see. I think we can get this wired up pretty quick. It's
Cool.
It's a fairly straightforward thing to do. So if we look at the code, Material has... Let me go into the API docs here. Material gives us this nice show search function.
Mm-hmm. This is going to be in the same vein as you have things like show persistent sheet, show modal dialog.
Show modal dialog is one I've used before, yeah.
So this is an additional one, show search.
Yes, these are some top-level functions just kind of hanging out in the material package that you can call. And so this is show search that I'm looking at right here. It takes a build context, because you're going to be displaying something, you need a context to put it into the tree. And it takes a search delegate. And a search delegate is a thing that does searching for you. So it provides kind of a nice framework to basically get the search functionality wired into the UI. And so let me go ahead, pop in here. Quick note, in keeping with Will's request at the end of our last episode, I did change the font. We changed the font from the sort of 1980s style to Garamond, which is a little bit more newsy.
So we actually have some like styling.
Yeah, we did a slight bit of styling before this episode in keeping with some requests from Will that he made. So it might look a little bit different, but it's just a font at this point. So we've got our app here. It uses, it's got a home page, and we need to wire in searching. So we're going to need a search icon somewhere that people can click on to trigger it, and we're going to need this search delegate. So let me start. Let's drop an icon into our...
Why don't we stick it in the app bar?
Stick it in the app bar. I think we can go up here and just do actions, right?
Yeah. One of the nice things about the Flutter's implementation of the app bar is it gives you a whole bunch of other widgets you can drop in. One of them is actions, which will basically display things, I believe, trailing at the end of the app bar.
Yep. Yeah, so we've got our Hacker News icon on the left, then we've got in the center our title, and this should go on the right. So let's do, I'm guessing I need an icon here.
Do you want icon or icon button?
Let's see. I was going to go with an icon button. We could do a straight up like gesture detector and just start with that.
Could do.
So we'd have an on tap, and I'll just give it an empty one for now. And then child would be an icon. And so we give it, I'm guessing, yep, search. There's the search icon. There we go. Put that in there.
And you can preview the icon over on the left-hand side.
Yep.
I never noticed that.
You can do that actually with material icons, not with the Cupertino icons, believe it or not. So we have an open bug for that. That's a request I made of the IntelliJ plugin team, because I've been working on some Cupertino stuff.
Cool.
But yeah, you get the little search thing right there. And so let's save that and see what we get. Oh,
there we go.
it's a little close.
Probably the problem here is that if you make that an icon button, that will give it more appropriate padding.
All right, let's try that.
Because gesture detector is one way to get gestures on a whole range of gestures on any type of widget. Icon button will basically do most of the wiring up of things like the ink will splash and all the other bits and pieces for you.
All the other material-y bits. And I think this takes an on pressed like that. And it's yelling at me. What have I forgotten? Too many positional arguments?
Icon.
Like that?
Icon
Okay.
view. If you wanted to do double tap or long press on an icon, then you'd use gesture detector. But
or dragging it for some reason. If you want, I don't know why you'd want to start a drag in one of your actions, but okay. So can I click this? Yep.
there we go.
There we go. Okay. So now we got something we can launch our search with, which is cool. Let's get the search delegate in here. I'll put it. Let's just put it at the bottom. So class article search.
Sounds good.
And I'm going to Pascal case this because that's how we do things. And then it extends search delegates, which is a generic. And so you put in the thing that you want to get out of the search.
Yes, so what type you want to get out of the search.
Yeah.
So here we need to make a decision. So when we search for something, what do we want the action to be?
That's a good question.
Because what we could do is we could create a separate page and we could have a details page.
Mhm.
Probably the easier thing to begin with is if we search and get the URL, and then we can use the URL launcher to...
So you pick a result and you just go immediately to the article, just as a sort of demonstration of the concept.
But the problem with that potentially is when the search results come back, you're going to see the URL and not the title. Do we have the concept of an article class?
We do.
So maybe we
Why don't we
could
do-
return that?
Do an article and start with that. And so that's going to extend. Searching. I'm just going to put a bunch of blank lines in here so I can kind of work in the middle of the screen. And so we're being yelled at because we're missing a whole bunch of required overrides. Boom.
Build actions, build leading, build results,
Right,
build
so
suggestions.
yeah, what the heck do these do? Fortunately, we have here. So we have, this comes with 4 different build methods.
Mhm.
Build actions, so widgets to display after the search query in the app bar. So this is going to pop up a new screen on top of whatever we had before.
Yeah.
That's going to be our search.
So this is the equivalent of using the navigator to navigate to an entirely new widget
Mhm.
tree inside the...
Which it's probably doing under the hood.
It is, because I think we're going to have to use navigator.pop to get back off the page.
Oh, yeah, that would make sense. Although, is there like a,
Oh,
there's a
there's-
close method.
Or you could just use the close method.
So, okay. So build actions, build leading, which is the widget to display before the text that you're going to be typing into. So like a back button.
Yeah, it's gonna. Yeah, that's gonna be the leading button on the left of the search
Mm-hmm.
bar.
So that's when we'll call close.
That's when we'll call. Yeah. So if we want to have navigation back, in other words, if we want to close it, the easiest way to do that would be to either do the Cupertino little X in the corner, or to have the Androidy back arrow.
Okay. So just for fun, what if we just leave all those empty? I wonder if it'll completely freak out. So show search is the name of the function. And then I could just give it an article search object.
Yep.
And that should be,
needs
what
a
else we got?
context. I
Oh,
bet.
you're right. Fortunately, I have one because I'm in a builder. Did I get those out of order? Oh,
Oh, you might have
They're
to
not positional.
prioritize them.
search.
Mhm.
Just delegate. Delegate. There we go. Let me put my comma in here so I can format, which always makes me happy. Bring my sim back out.
I feel bad things are about to happen. Bad
Yes.
things just happened.
So, it's not kidding when it says to do. You need to implement things.
Yes.
So,
Now the
All right.
question is, which ones of these is it going to need?
that's a good one. We could go. I wonder if we could find out where exactly it failed. Anyway, let's start
Okay.
putting some things in here. So, build actions. So we would have a. So that's to the right. So if you wanted like a clear or
This is
something
the same
like
as
that,
this is the same as the app bar. So you have actions on the right and you have leading on the left.
that's why it takes a list.
Yeah.
Actually, that's
So we
right.
could return an empty list and it might start.
Let's just give it some kind of an icon here. Is there a clear? Cool. Okay, so that's one.
Yep.
3 to go. Build
Is it a
leading.
semicolon or a comma? There you go. Okay.
Gets me every time. There we go.
Don't you just love backseat drivers? I just can stare over your shoulder and get a comment.
You're right. I can't. You
You're-
spotted an actual error, so
You're
I can
coding
hardly
wrong,
complain.
so I can just,
you missed the exit 2 miles ago.
So this is a single widget.
Right. And so this is the build leading. So this is where we could return a button to close.
Yep.
So we could try that. And that could be an icon button,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that gets an icon.
Yep. So you get his icon dot clear or dot left back. Is there a
Arrow back
Okay.
like that. And then we need to give it an on pressed. And that, oh, it was just going to do close, right? And close takes a,
I think so. You need the context
takes a,
enclosed. doesn't it?
oh, it gives me a context. Okay. So I can use that. And,
Wait, what does it give you?
oh, this wants the result. So we pass back a null?
let's have a look.
Why don't we go? Let's look
Okay. So let's pass back null for the time being because we don't have a result.
the return value provided for a result is used as the return value of the call to show search.
Okay,
So
well, that makes sense.
we had to pass something back to be like, hey, they didn't care about the search, right?
Yep.
So
So it could be an empty article. We might
let's
just take
do-
null.
Yeah, I think null would
Yeah.
work. Okay.
Mhm.
Does this build now? No? All right.
How about we just we could return null for those two widgets. That might just be looking for the return. Oh, child is not equal to null. Which child?
Yeah, let's just return a container. I'm worried that I've messed something else up, and I just think that I've... Oh, no? Okay. So there's that. That still has... Let's make this an icon button, too.
Yep.
So we give it an icon, like that. Then we need an on pressed. Let's just give it an empty one for now. And capitalization helps because this is not Visual Basic. There we go. No offense to anyone who codes in Visual Basic. Gets a lot of work done. And what am I messing up here? That's it right there.
There you go.
Boop.
So does this mean if you click the leading, what happens when it calls close? Oh, it closes.
Did you see that though? Watch.
Oh, it's
I swear I saw a little bit of the red screen in there the first time I did that. No? All right.
okay. We'll have to watch the rerun.
I'm imagining things.
We'll watch the rerun and
Yeah.
see what we messed up.
What are we 30,
Comment-
are we 30 FPS here
Comments below, please.
for YouTube? I don't know. What do we need?
We're surely recording this at 60 FPS because that's what Flutter does, right?
I just move so quickly, you can't really get the nuance at 30 FPS.
You're a blur.
Yeah. Okay.
So, where were we?
Yeah, so we launched an empty screen, and then I congratulated
Is that
myself
search
a lot.
bar? Search bar is typable now, right?
You should.
Ooh,
That's
search
interesting.
bar. Okay.
Curious why the soft keyboard didn't come up. All right, we'll have to look into that one. All right, so we have build results and build suggestions. So how do we get the current state of the search?
Okay, let's take a look at
There's got to be a way to do that.
API surface and see what we're
Yeah.
getting. There you go. There's a property called query.
There we go. Okay. So we can do...
I
So
guess
we'll have a query which represents whatever
now the question
people are
is
typing in. So I should be able to do something like this.
text
maybe?
query and then okay.
So I pop up my search and do... There we go.
Magics.
So we do have data. We got to connect this to something. Oh, wait. That's a good point, too. So we have this little clear button not clearing anything. Is there a way to clear this? I bet there is a method for that.
Let's have a look.
Clear? Or do we just go... Can we assign to query as well? Does that work? It apparently does.
Wow.
So we now have a working clear button. Awesome.
So
Thanks
we got
to
a
the
back,
magic
we got
of
a
string
clear, we got
assignment.
search and so we're gonna have to. So what are we? We're gonna have a list of articles to This is almost like more like filtered in the search, but I guess same
Yeah,
thing.
that's a good point. How do we get those into the search class?
Because this is a sort of it's navigated to a separate context. So yeah, how are we going to do this?
So
Are
we
gonna-
have,
we're
I mean,
gonna
we
record
have
it
our
somewhere?
block, right? That's where we get, somewhere down here we're using a stream builder.
Okay, so we can
So we
use
have our
another
block.
stream builder.
We could give our, all right, so this is, so the list from, so the body is a stream builder, which means when the block updates the stream, that's going to get rebuilt, right?
So this is coming
But-
from block dot. Where is block coming from? It's coming from an
Block
inherited
is
widget?
given to us by the app, I believe, right there. So the app creates the block here.
Okay, so is it a
Yeah. Oh, there we go. There's where the block is created.
Oh, so we created the very
That's
top.
given to the app. The app drills it down into the home page.
Where do we insert it into the widget tree?
So it goes in right here as part of this my home page.
Okay, so when we call my home page,
That's got a working
pass
block
it
at that point.
the block.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And so the homepage state, which is the one building this search,
Mhm.
that can do
So we don't
that
actually.
could get us the current state of. So if we're really slick, we'd like update the search class, the search delegate class, with like the stream on the fly. I don't think we're quite there yet. We could give it.
How many hours do we have for this
Yeah.
episode?
This will be our first ever 7-hour boring show episode.
Yes.
We could just give it as a parameter. It's because it can get an unmodifiable list view
Oh, so we're going to
of
pass it.
articles. So we could just give it the articles like that.
Oh, when we instantiate the.
Right.
Oh, that's clever.
So we'd have a final.
Kind of wouldn't want to do this in reality because that list could be. Well, I mean, your search could be coming over HTTP. It could be coming from any sort of data source. But we can pass this in. That's cool.
And then we need to, let's generate a constructor for me. Boom. I always forget to use those, and they're right there. Just Command N. Visual Studio Code, I think, has some key command you can do to generate common stuff too.
I'm sure it does. I should stop typing these things manually and work out what those bindings are.
I'm trying to force myself to do it because I've been needing a bunch of double equals and hash codes recently for some view model classes, and I've been.
Shouldn't you
it
just
saves
be
me some time.
using built value?
I should be using build value for my view models. The problem is I like to keep them in the class with the widget that's going to consume them, and
Oh,
that's
yeah.
tricky because of the way the build value stuff. As you've seen in some of our earlier episodes, the build value, you put your class in its own file, it generates a part file that sits next to it,
Yeah.
and that can be a little bit awkward if you want to have anything else in that file. Works great, but you have to structure your code a little bit specifically for that. Okay, so we have this. So now we could go back up here where I now have an error and give it widget.block.articles, which is a stream.
Oh, you're passing in the stream.
Is this a value stream that I can get a value out of?
It's a stream of list of articles, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Because we're using stream.
Okay. So
Wait,
I
is
should be able to do that. Is that a future? How to do this correctly? Because you could.
Because there will be nothing in this until such time the block resolves the stream.
Right. Which isn't that big of a deal. We could check and be like, oh, there's nothing in the stream yet.
Well,
so
you would use a future builder.
would we want to, so say there's nothing in there yet and somebody hits the search button. Do we want to delay and then pop up the search thing after the network call completes? Or would we want to just say, hey, I don't have any articles yet, so have fun with that?
Well, if you pass in the stream, then you don't necessarily have to wait because it will still resolve here, right? Because the stream will eventually start pumping data through at some point. Now, you could wait, or you could just, because we're going to have to read a stream, when you have a stream builder on this side, it's only really going to start to resolve when you have data coming through the stream.
And so these are behavior subjects under the hood,
Yeah,
which means they have a value to start with, right?
It means it remembers the last value that went in. Unless you seed it, it won't have a value at the beginning. But every time you create a new stream builder, it will immediately pull the last value from that stream. So I don't think we're seeding it because we have nothing to seed unless we seed an empty list. But if we pass in the stream, we can still do the whole stream plumbing.
Interesting. Okay. So we can pass in this, and I go down here and say, where I said that before, I actually meant stream, right?
And one of the ways that I typically solve this is I have an inherited widget which contains a stream, and then I can access it anywhere. We're just passing it through manually at the moment. That's totally fine for an app of this size. But now that we have the stream,
We could return a stream builder here. Could we not?
return a... Yes, we could. because it will take a new widget.
So we need to type our stream builder, which will be getting a stream of unmodifiable list view article. Like that.
Unmodifiable mouthful.
Yeah. And, oh, actually, that's results. Let's do suggestions first.
Yep.
Because suggestions come first. And so I'll return. I'm just inventing the new names for widgets right now is what I do. Alternative widget names. So what do we need for a stream builder? We need a stream, which we can give. That's just our article.
Passed in.
And we need a builder. And so this is one of the things I like. I don't know if VS Code does this. You get the nice little hover, because I can never remember what the signature is for builders and stuff.
Excuse me, but VS Code has hover as well.
There you go.
Your insinuations. So we're going to start with the IDE wars here.
Yeah. I do everything in VI from the command line.
There's a plugin for Dart for Vim.
Oh, yeah.
Next on the boring show.
Yeah.
Flutter for
An
Vim.
8-hour
Vim for
episode
Flutter.
that involves me trying to learn to use Vim. Okay, so we're taking this, and it's an async snapshot.
Yeah, and you kind of want to type this one because it helps with the
Snapshots.
I'm
Still getting yelled at. Oh, because it's unmodifiable.
Cool.
There we go. Everything's great. All right.
So the OD plumbing we're going to need now is if there's data or not data.
That's all right. So let's say if, and I'm just going to do.
You can do snapshot that has.
I'm going to say if it doesn't have data, has data.
I use has data for future builder. I can't remember what I do with string builder. I usually use the connection state.
For right now, I'm just going to return a child that says no data. Like that. Semicolon. And otherwise, we can return something that means something. So we could do, we're going to need a column of rows, I imagine.
We're going to do list view.
Oh, list view.
Because we're going to have an unmodifiable list. The easiest way to do this, probably, at least to see if it's working, is to have a list view of the articles.
Okay. Yeah. Let's see. List view. Children. So we're going to map our articles to something.
We could map them just to the title for the moment.
Dot data map to widget. So we're going to take an article and we're going to convert it to a text with a dot title.
Do you want me to text Will and find out what font he wants us to use for this?
I feel bad because he didn't have enough time to like finish his work, and like he showed a bunch of really useful stuff about the API and things like that, but like, you know, his personality and wanted everything to be like proper and finished when he was done with it, and they just didn't have time.
I can't wait to see what he thinks of our search implementation.
Yeah. Okay, so let's save that. No data.
Yay! That, well, result-ish.
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, so let's.
Oh, maybe because in the maybe we'll need to no, that should
Let's just
still
start this
pick up
over
with
and see what
hot reload.
happens. There we go. So we had.
So we do have data now. It's
We
just
do have
we've-
data. We just have me forgetting to put toList on the end of my maps, as I always do.
Yeah, I do that too.
There we go. So we got some data.
Wow.
And then we didn't actually. Oh, I am not in the search bar. So there we go. So we're not actually using the query, which we need to do.
So, okay. Do you want to? Should we style the list, or should we get the query? We get the query working first.
Yeah.
It should be easy. Because all you want to do,
So-
right, is you just want to search for a substring.
I'm gonna do aware and just do a straight up. We get for
So what we do in the list view section, we can filter the list by using, I'm presuming Dart has a substring.
yes.
String, we'll work it out.
Yeah. There's a
Contains.
include contain. I'm sure there's The Dart string library has probably been around for a decade at this point, so it's got to be in there somewhere. Articles where, and then I probably have to give this a lambda.
I can see the Dart team talking to us afterwards going, really? You don't know the string API?
After we get a
How long-
talking
how
to
long
from
have you been
material, we'll
working
get a talking to from the Dart team. So a dot title dot. Wait a second.
String class, Dart core library. We have it contains.
Wait a second. Oh. This is not even remotely correct. I'm operating on the stream. Snapshot dot data. Just like my IQ was normal. Title. There we go. Contains. Yes. Yep. Can we do a 2 lower here?
I think.
There we go. Contains.
Well, contains actually takes a pattern, so you could do some pattern
Oh
matching
my,
here,
I don't even
but
know
I
what
think
a pattern is.
we can use a straight string for this.
Can I format that? There we go. It's a little better.
Contains query, maybe?
I assume. I can't. That would be. All right, hold on. Open source check. Let's drill down. Returns true if the string contains a match of other. Other is a pattern. Pattern is an abstract class.
This will either take a regex or a string, or maybe both. But isn't a string like just an exact match for a regex? Oh, it's been so long since I've done regular expressions. Welcome to the regular expression show, where we will spend the next half an hour trying to work out how to do basic substring matching.
No kidding.
So have we tried to run this?
Let's just try it with this and see what happens.
You might want to. I think navigating back and forth might reset your because it'll kill the stream builder.
Okay, that needs to be results anyway. Let's just try a hot restart here. Hey.
Okay. Okay.
So I can do carbon. Yeah, you can just give it a string.
So that works except for when there's nothing there.
Yeah. Thanks, Dart core team.
We'll read your APIs better the next time.
Yeah, we promise. So that gets us some results. We still need to do something better than this ugliness. So let's do something nicer. We could make a little.
We could make a list tile
let's make a little
because
stateless.
I always end up making list tiles. Because apparently, I'm sure.
Hold on. You're right. We got a list view. We could make list tiles. That is a good point. So we're going to map to list tile like that. What do I put in here?
Title.
Title. Well, that's easy. Title. Oh, messed it up. Need my a dot. Here we go.
What else do we have in the article class?
Oh, it needs to be a widget. Text. Easy peasy. We could put a leading icon on it.
Mm-hmm.
We have like an article.
Book. Bookmark.
Book.
Bookmark border.
Yes, there we go.
You know what else you could do? You could put the substring as the URL. If you're feeling.
Oh, subtitle. There you go. Yeah. Text, I'm guessing.
Mm-hmm.
A dot. Oh, URL. Yeah. Whoa.
Why is it not showing the title?
This is I think it's because there's been some heavy modification of the, I'm guessing this title is just this URL is utterly enormous, and maybe we don't want to show it. So let me do this first.
Yeah, let's get the subtitle, see what happens.
Okay, so that gets us, that's better, but those are still tiny.
Yeah,
You want to give them a, well, if that's the body text, then I really just need to do this.
But that's odd because like title should it auto styles it for list tile.
Open source. So let's see. We got a build method in here somewhere, right? Divide tiles. Oh my goodness. List tile's doing a lot of stuff. Title text is title style.
Yeah, so that should be much bigger. I'm surprised how small that is.
Which is using, it depends on your list tile style. So if this is body 2, that would look a lot like a body text font.
Okay, so it's pulling from the style.
All right, so let's go
We could
back.
retheme it.
And let me take that off then. So there isn't. I know for a fact I should be able to jam this in here.
Okay.
Right, that should work. And be huge and not styled correctly. Okay. Interesting.
We could just give it a font size. Might be
Style. Good old copy width. Font size 10.0. How's that work? 16.0. There we go.
okay.
Again, apologies to Will. I'm sure there's a better way to do this. Format out my code. Take out my subtitle here.
Because you could do with subtitle, you can just say text one line and end with an ellipsis, and that way then it doesn't overflow everywhere. But that's good enough.
Okay. So now, part of the issue here is that these are suggestions. These aren't even the actual results, which is interesting. So what's the difference between suggestions and results?
Transition from showing results by build results to suggestions from build suggestions. Okay.
After the user submits a search. So is this going to be the same thing almost?
Well, notice that as you type, it's showing the suggestions.
Mm-hmm.
What happens if you hit return? Does it then show a different set of results? Because suggestions don't have to be a filter of a list. They could be anything.
Oh, that's true.
So
Yeah,
if
because
we
technically you're suggesting things that could go into the query.
So it doesn't have to be built off of that. If we hit, because usually when the keyboard pops up, there'll be a search key.
Suggestions should be based on the current query string. If the query string is empty, it's good practice to show suggested queries based on past queries or the current context. Query, okay. So when a list tile on tap is called, query should be updated with the corresponding suggestion, and the results page should be shown by calling show results. So what we're supposed to be doing.
Oh, but that shows the results. That's different to build
Yeah.
results.
So we should be putting a.
How can
is
we
it like an
trigger build
on-
results?
On tap
Mm-hmm.
should be query equals. This is huge, but we could do it like that. Why are you yelling at me? What did I just forget?
You're missing the brackets on tab. Open and close brackets.
Yep.
No. Yeah. I forgot those.
We could do it like that. And save that up. All right, that worked. Interesting that it just eliminated our preview. That's interesting. Okay.
Well, that's going to rewrite the query, which is then going to filter everything out. So the question is, how do we get build results to trigger? If you type something in and hit return, there you go. So that's building the results. So that's
Okay.
the equivalent of hitting the search icon on the keyboard.
Mm-hmm. So let's take out.
Because what you want to
Let's take
do,
out the icon on this one and do it like that. So these actually look like suggestions now.
Mhm.
I'm a little weirded out by the fact that should leave us with one thing in here. If we just put
but
this.
no, because that's now running your that's now building your container, because that's no longer suggesting. It should be showing the results. See what I mean?
All right, let's build some results then. So we would do the same basic thing here. We'd still have a stream builder, I guess. So we would do a live update of your search query for you. And
So I guess
we're bloating the code. We can clean this up if we have time. And here we could put the icon back in. And you know what? I'm going to give these a color. Blue. Just so that we can tell them apart. Do that up. We'll go back up here and say, okay, that's it. Now we can put our icon back. So we'll be able to tell these apart. And then this will have an on tap that actually closes with the article. Because if you hit a result, then you're done. You want to close the search down. Or we could do...
Or we could navigate to the article directly.
Would we want to do that back on the original screen? Because we have to close the search at some point, right?
Well, we can do the URL launch, and then we can still call the navigate.of pop after it, potentially. I'm not sure how that would interact, because the URL launcher is no wait. We can play around with this. See what
Okay,
happens.
yeah, that's what we got. And actually, we've been going for a little while now. Do you want to... We got some questions we were going to answer, and give you a chance to do some coding and finish this up. You just want to see if we
Let's see where we got to, because you've got like blue code and icons and all sorts of other things. And
You don't want to take over a project in a really weird state in like a few minutes. Back this up. That's weirding me out. So I can type in that. Okay. Oh. That gets me a result, and that closes. Okay.
I think it's because you're overriding the URL. It's getting very weirded out, as opposed to just saying search. Because if you tap in it, it's not supposed to take you to the results, because you're selecting it, and that should actually launch the article. If you see what I mean.
Okay. We could close. Do you mean have it close here as well?
Yeah, because the on tap there is going to say I'm choosing this result, as opposed to show it me again in the search result.
We can certainly do that.
So you can choose one, and it goes back.
Okay.
Or you can search and click it, and it also goes back.
Okay.
Of course, what we're going to... Yeah, okay.
All right, so let's
Why don't we do
answer
some questions?
Yes. Questions. And just a reminder, if you're watching, you can post questions for us. And, we'll try and answer as many as we can on the show. You can post YouTube comments right on this video. You can also, as you can see from our whiteboard, you can use the hashtag #BoringShow Twitter hashtag and tweet them at us. We check those out whenever we can. And I have two for today. So one of them comes from Connor Aldrich. This is about a week or two ago. And it says, I'm really curious about how you could remove the top gray status bar with the white background, because that both looks better and is what Google does. This is in one of our other videos. They were asking about Connor was asking about the notification status bar at the top of one of the apps, which a lot of apps get rid of. They sort of hide it away. And so Flutter does have a mechanism for doing this. You can customize it and do some other things. Let me pull up. I have done it when I was teaching myself Flutter. I made a little reversey game. and it it has a game UI. So I didn't want to have the status bar or the navigation bar at the top or bottom. And I also wanted to make sure that people didn't flip the device. So it was just a simple example, and I didn't want to have to deal with having two different layouts for it because I was but a wee noob at the time. And so there is a way to interact with what they call System Chrome. There's a library for it in Flutter/services. And it offers things like setting your preferred orientation. So if you want to lock your screen in portrait or landscape, if you want to definitely enable the navigation or the navigation or notification areas, or definitely disable them and hide them away until the user taps manually to bring them down, you can do that. And you just make simple calls into various methods. So the System Chrome class, here we go. It's got a bunch of stuff in here. Preferred orientations, you just give it a list of the orientations you want. And enabled system UI overlays, you give it a list of the overlays you want, or an empty list to hide everything.
So then you just give it a scaffold, you don't give it an app bar, and that gives you your full page for handling material widgets?
I can still have the app bar. It's that very top layer where you have like your battery and your Snapchats
so that hides all of those as well.
And those little icons.
Okay.
Yep. That hides those away and gives you that nice, clean, full screen interface that a lot of apps really like.
You still need to take into account, you still need to use safe area for notched devices?
That's true.
Okay. Safe area is great if you do go full screen. For Pixel 3s and the iPhone X's of this world, that will make sure you don't, your widget, you don't have to manually pad for those areas.
It'll do a media query on your behalf. Helps with rounded corners, notches, stuff like that. Which is why we made it the very first ever widget of the week. Way back when. So that was one question. I thought it was a really good thing to cover. Another one was from someone named Jim Morrison.
So the Lizard King asks
yes,
what?
I don't know. Fun fact, he and I actually went to the same university.
This one or the other one?
The Lizard King, Jim Morrison.
Okay, right,
yeah.
fair enough.
And he said, this is actually a concern. It says, one thing that bothers me about Flutter is that it seems to allow coders to easily slip into writing massively indented code. And Flutter is a fairly unopinionated SDK. You can sort of write it the way you want to. And so this is actually a very good thing to be thinking about, especially if you're going to be a team lead or something like that, where you really need to set policies for other coders to follow, maybe beginners who don't have as much experience. And so I wanted to real quick highlight yet again Brian Egan's wonderful architectural samples, where I think he does a very good job of this. I think the best way to combat this sort of thing is to lead by example. And so if you're a team lead and you can show your people exactly how to separate things like business logic from UI logic, you can go a long way to dealing with that concern. And I think Brian Egan here, he has, if you look at his project structure, he has a presentation folder with all of his presentation level widgets, which are just delightfully simple. They're very simple-minded widgets. They just take basic properties and convert those into on-screen presentation. And if you go into his containers folder, now you start to see things that are using business logic to create those presentation level widgets. And so I've pointed a zillion people to these examples. If you would like to see some very well architected Flutter code that shows how to deal with those sorts of concerns, I highly recommend these. You can find them in our samples index at Flutter/samples. We have a curated index of samples. And you can also just throw it into search and do Flutter architecture samples. You will find these suckers.
And a rule of thumb is if your own widget implementations start to massively indent or grow by number of pages, decompose them into individual widgets. In the long run, it will help reusability, but more importantly, it will help readability. And the age-old use async and await and futures versus .then, and that will also help with when you start to play around with a lot of asynchronous code, ending up in that pyramid of...
The rightward drift, as it is called.
Oh, back we go again.
Which has been mentioned in some of my own pull requests, to be completely honest. I think Jonah pointed it out once. Yeah. But there
Okay.
you go. All right, you want to switch and we can finish this up?
All right, let's quickly see if we can get some URLs launching.
Yeah. Let's do that last little, put a bow on it and call it a day. All right, I'll just log in and check your email here. 1 minute.
Which ID is this?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Okay, what have you left me?
I think we just need that last little piece of where we're going to launch the URL and where we're going to launch it.
So this seems to be working well. So, I mean, people, there's a lot of overlap here between the suggestion and the actual result. But in many search cases, you're not doing direct text search. You're doing much more contextual-based search. So, whereas we do have overlap here. Now, what we could do is we could, let's take a look at, I have to get used to your PC. Where is, okay, here we go. Show search, back again. Nope, yes. Here we go. So we have bill suggestions, and we have the search delegate class. Now, what does it say about returning results?
So that's what close does, right?
So close returns a result. And if we look at the implementation, that's popping the result.
So it's using the navigator and it's popping with the result, which is then caught by show search, right?
Yeah, so basically that means that show search is returning a future of type article, which means if we go back to, it's not Android Studio, it's IntelliJ. I was confused even by that. Why is that red?
Oh, it's in I have a Git repo, so we can push this when we're done.
So what we need to do is we need to go back to, main.dart. Hang on, we're all in the same one. I would definitely break this into multiple Dart
It's still
files.
a very small app considering how much hacking we've done on it, which
That's
I find
very true.
fascinating.
That's very true. On the next episode, Will will style our search page, because as soon as he watches this, it's his fault. So where is our search? Show search is here. So what we're going to do is, how are we going to do this? So this is going to return a future. So we could do on pressed. We would have. Remember when I said don't use dot then?
Well, you can. I mean, on press can be async. You can throw an async on there if you'd prefer to do that.
So I could do that, right? And then I can do this, right? And then I can do final result is this, and this is going to be, well, I could technically do final.
Yeah, it's interesting because show search does not have a type on it.
But we have typed it from the delegate.
So does it inherit the delegate there? Okay, interesting.
So it's inheriting it from this.
So even if you didn't put article result.
Yeah, because I think we can. Okay. I think Dart's smart enough to work that out. And I'm not just trying to make friends again with the Dart team after our miserable attempt at looking up string methods. Okay.
Snaps you just try whatever would make sense, and it probably works.
Here is we could just do print. Where are we? I was going to do snack bar, but we're in scaffold, and
Oh yeah. Well, you could just throw a builder in there.
Fine, I'll do it properly.
You
Fine, I'll do it properly.
We're going to launch URL anyway. Right?
So the reason why I can't do that, I'll do what I thought I was going to do, just so we can see why it doesn't work. Dot show snack bar, and if Emily Fortuna is here, we'd call this Admiral Snack Bar because
she's funnier than us.
Yes, and it's funnier when she says it. Snack bar takes content, spot the person who's written a shed load of snack bars. Why are you not happy?
I think it's snack capital B bar.
And then we would do text, and we would do result dot title. Why not? Does that look right? Let's put some commas in.
So it's Alt Command L to format.
All right, is Alt
or Option Command L to use. There you go.
Thank you. You learn something new every single day. So this is not going to work. And the reason this is going to work is because we're trying to get the context of... We're trying to get scaffold out of the context, but it hasn't been built yet. And this used to mess me up all the time, and I'd pull it out. And the easiest way to get around this, as Andrew pointed out, would be, how do I wrap with widget?
Oh, Option Enter.
This is what happens when you let me drive. We can put a builder in. And our builder is going to have a builder. And then we're going to put in a context. And then we're going to put in a double arrow. Okay, so what does this look like? So if we go back and we do search, and I click on this.
Yay!
No, I'm not surprised that worked. It was always going to work first time.
So real quick, just to make sure that we're being clear about why we put this builder in here.
Yes.
So when you tell it scaffold of, and you give it a context, it goes, okay, I'm going to go from here up, and I'm going to look for a scaffold.
It's going to look up the widget
Hierarchy. Tree.
But the problem here is when we call this, we haven't actually built the scaffold yet, or it's not necessarily in the context. So if I remove this, option, what was it, return?
Option Enter, yeah.
Option Enter. So if I remove widget, where's remove widget? Okay, it doesn't have remove widget. Right, fine. If you were to remove this, this would actually throw a runtime error.
Because it wouldn't be able to find the scaffold.
Exactly.
Right?
So the thing is that if you use scaffolded of in the same build function that you're defining the scaffold, you will hit problems. And it's the same with whenever you use .of.
Okay.
So the easiest way, instead of having to break things out into multiple build functions, is to wrap it in a builder, which gives you a separate build context to manage that. I've explained that badly. So let's see if this also works. If I search for...
I think you're still... I've done that a time or two as well.
If I search for Neil Armstrong... Oh dear, I've...
Did we... Oh, you're broke. You're at a breakpoint.
I've broke.
Exception.
Okay.
Title was called unknown.
Let's just continue there. Okay. So let's search for Neil. Neil's gone. Neil is there. Oh, because you're lowercasing it.
And I didn't lowercase the query.
Lowercase the query.
Oh, where's my cone of shame?
Well, we'll fix that in a minute. So if we hit return, we get the thing. We click the thing. We get the snack bar. Right. So let's take this to its foregone conclusion. That sounds very ominous. We leave that there for the time being. But do we have URL launcher in here already?
Yes, because that's what that icon is doing. And so we could probably...
a nice wrapper function for that? URL.
There it is. Yeah, if await can launch article, launch article. So you could probably take that exact thing out, yeah.
And we'll go back up. I mean, we'd ordinarily break this into a separate function. If await can launch, and this is going to be result, which I should probably rename article, result. Snack bar is kind of redundant at this point, but let's just see what happens.
Everybody likes a nice snack bar.
I'm just going to choose this. And
you might have already built this. You've already built this section of it, so you might need to do a hot reload, I don't know, or a hot restart, I don't know.
Okay, where is my hot restart button here?
Or...
Oh wait, this seems to... Okay, I'm going to restart the app.
Yeah.
No idea what those mean.
Those are the things that teach me the key commands.
And I'm going to comment this out because redundant. And we did the buildy, so there should be no reason why I can't launch this here. So let's see where we get to here. So we go to here and we type carbon. Here we go, and then we click. Okay.
And there it goes.
So it was a little janky because we're also pushing back and whatnot. I mean, there are several ways around that. We could, so we go back and then we show. What we could do is we could launch from here. So what we could do, for example, is we could, let's see if I can do this real quick. I'm going to take this. You're probably going to tell me this is a terrible idea.
No, I'm going to tell you we've been going for almost an hour.
Okay, let's see if I can quickly get this done. As people frantically wave at me.
I don't think URL launcher is imported into this file. No, we're still in the same file. It should be fine. Result doesn't exist. There we go.
And then we go back and we choose another one. Oh, this is coming from results. So I'm going to go here. Isn't this riveting watching? Trying to make me work out.
There you go.
Okay. A little bit of work there just in terms of what happens when. But we've gone from having
no search whatsoever
to having kind of cool. I think it's pretty neat.
Yeah. All right.
And you can tidy up your code now that I've gone and I've like just
Before
like
I push it up
dumped
to
all
GitHub.
over it.
Yeah. All right, so I guess that is today. Hopefully you've enjoyed watching us knock out some search for this. It's a fairly simple API. You know, you just one call to launch it, and there are 4 calls to return the widgets that you need to present the UI for searching. So yeah, again, please send us some questions on the comments for this video, or you can tweet at us with the hashtag #BoringShow. We always check those out, and we try to respond to your questions both, you know, in the comments and here on the show. But yeah, we'll see you next time.
Thank you very much.